corn. It's a little weird to no context send someone a PowerPoint presentation. Why would you do that? And I'll say that the answer is, for the reason that I do anything on this server, for the good of the underworld. That's a lie. Not everything I do on the server is for the good of the underworld. This is, because what I'm attempting to do is participate further in my role as a double agent. Because yes, my main goal is the underworld, but I also kind of want to help out the shopping district too. And hey, what about this thing that I could do for the underworld and also for the shopping district, the goat moat? Because I think it would be supremely funny, and for that reason I really want to do it, to make the goat moat river Styx. Like, of course, the river Styx, you know, famous river that like Greek gods and goddesses swear on, and it's mythological and it is a goat moat. That is the only logical conclusion. So, you know, straightforward would be just, you know, asking Jaffa if I could do the goat moat, because I want to connect it to the underworld. However, Jaffa cannot know about the underworld, because Jaffa is the governor, and the governor should not know about the underworld. Just logistically, that doesn't make sense. So I had to go about it a little bit slanted. You know, I had to do some things on the slant. And by doing things on the slant, I mean I spent 30 minutes making a PowerPoint presentation with references and everything for the reasons why I should do the goat moat. And then proceeded to no context send it to him. Jaffa was understandably curious as to why I no context sent him a presentation, and so he asked me why I'm interested in the goat moats. And here is where I lied a little bit. I said that I have vested interest in goat moats, which isn't a lie. I do. I find them fascinating. I helped with the last one. I helped in season 2. I have credentials, people. That's one of the reasons I'm qualified for this. But also because, you know, I didn't tell him about the underworld, because I'm not telling him about the underworld because, once again, governor doesn't make sense. I don't think I was very convincing with my reasoning. So, Jaffa said I could help, but that's not like the full creative control of the goat mode I was hoping for, and it's not like I want the full creative control. I just need to make sure that it goes directly over the exit to the underworld, so the exit to the underworld can be the river Styx, which is a goat mode. However, I just have to do some machinations in the background to make that happen, because clearly it's not happening right now, no matter how qualified I am to do the goat mode. I mean, come on, I'm very qualified. My slanted plans aside, there are other slanted things to do today, like build diagonal buildings, which I've been procrastinating, because diagonal buildings are the devil. The devil, I say. Diagonal building? A building that is diagonal? No, and yet the underworld needs it, and so I must do it. Well, it's that time, the time I've been procrastinating, building a diagonal building. I've slapped together some materials, put together like a funky little palette that I think might work in creative. It's, you know, coral, gravel, and then we take the sandstone and we steal the sandstone birch from over there. And where's the birch? Here we go. Not enough birch, so we're doing great. Sandstone birch, and then just fix the rest of it with spruce. And maybe throw in like a brick chimney, but this is the palette we're going to work with. A lot of times I just throw you guys into time lapses, because I'm a bit of an indecisive builder, and when it's in a time lapse, it doesn't look like I'm indecisive, but I am a fair amount of indecisive. However, today, you are gonna get to hang with me as I struggle to build a diagonal building. So, I guess we just put blocks down, and we kill a lot of coral. Yeah, that looks like a wall. Very good, very good. We've reached the bit at which I do some kind of changey thing, or at least the one I did there, and I didn't do it there, but I think it'll work. So now, we stick you back in here, and perhaps I massively overestimated the amount of materials that so we take spruce logs. Big hole. Some kind of border. We're gonna totally destroy this part of the house. Okay. Pretty good. And now, let's stick a roof on it. Yeah, I did the thing where I got way too many materials for the size of my project, but hey, at least that means I didn't run out. Alright, so we've got something that resembles a roof. Now we should put in things that resemble windows, theoretically, because we've got a lot of nothing going on here. But before we put in windows, I think we might want to put in some kind of bottom trim there. And whenever you do trim, you probably use bajillion spruce trapdoors. It's just the rule. I don't make the rules, I just follow them. That's a lie, I also make the rules. We've got windows. Very nice. Okay, so I don't like this connection, and I don't super like this connection. This connection is better, so I think I'm gonna focus on this connection, and I'm gonna fix it by just tearing it out and replacing it with something else. Totally. Cause we could have a chimney there. That's what it's gonna be. We're gonna put a chimney there. Give me those bricks. And the build is complete-ish, because that bit still bothers me, and I don't know if I'm ever going to be satisfied with it, but the rest of it, I feel quite happy with. Quite happy. Well done, Corn. But even so happy, as a matter of fact, that I cleaned up the shulker box that was right here. Actually, that's a lie. I just moved it off camera, so, I'm not turning from this perspective so you don't see the shulker box. But, I do like the way this diagonal building turned out, which is a surprise, because it's a diagonal building, and diagonal buildings are the devil. That's why they all start with D. But I kind of like the way it turned out, you know? I also wasn't sure how I would feel about using the dead coral, because it doesn't super look like stone to me. It looks like dead coral. But I think the gravel makes it look just, you know, ordinary enough that I can sort of move past that. And I am always a big fan of sandstone and birch together. I think it's a great combination. So that was pretty straightforward. And then this connecting point was also bugging me, but I replaced it with a chimney. I would replace that one with a chimney if building having two chimneys, no discernible purpose, wasn't weird. But yeah, this is the finished building. I feel pretty good about it. However, having now done a diagonal building, I am now going to up the ante, as I always do, because that is a Corn thing to do. I'm going to up the ante and build another diagonal building, because, you know, we've got more diagonal bits all around this cave. I'm still not touching the exit yet, because I have specific plans for it. That means I need to do some other specific plans and get other specific people working on things. But I have what I want, maybe. And so I am going to work on another diagonal building, and we'll see how it goes. I've once again already kind of picked out a palette in creative. I've done stone bricks and some black stone bricks, and then I threw in not stone, andesite, and the building's mostly going to be this with some mossy ones and, you know, some spruce. And I'm gonna put it here, and my plan for it is honestly a little bit ambitious, which is why I still haven't started, even though I said I was gonna start, because, you know, anxiety. But it's a little bit ambitious because it's going to have a straight part, and then it's going to do a diagonal part, and it's going to end up being sort of like a tavern. And so that's a lot of expectation to just sort of put on this. But you know what? We just go for it. We'll just go for it. I'll take my blocks and yeah, just go for it. and the build is complete. This one is a little bit bigger. Okay, fine, a fair bit bigger than the other one, so gonna have to walk you around it too, because there's also this back section that's got, you know, a fireplace. Chimney, which is gonna be a fireplace on the inside, because I figured, how can one have a tavern, because I'm planning this is gonna be a tavern, without having a fireplace? So boom, a reason for a fireplace. Technically that means there should also be a fireplace in that one, but I haven't even decided a purpose for that guy, so I'm not too worried. But anyway, the build is complete. We've got a lot of stone and stone brick and some diorite. Not diorite, andesite. Andesite? Let me break a block and find out. Andesite. We've got a lot of stone and some andesite, polished and not polished. I'm using the not polished to sort of pull from the cracked bricks and make it look more worn down, and the polished is just sort of another stone variant. And I feel okay about this. I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about it, because it feels like something is missing. Like, a lot of the builds I've done have been sort of very colorful. Well, not very colorful, I am using sort of drab tones, but, like, they've been built in layers. And so the top and the bottom aren't the same, except for that one. But for this one, the top and the bottom are the same. It's sort of pulling back to that idea, and there's no separator, and I wanted it to look like one big building that was built out of one thing, because it didn't make sense to me for a tavern to be built in parts. But I don't quite know if I like it. I do know that I like lots of bits of it. I like the shape. I can't believe I'm about to say this. I like that it's on a diagonal. I like that. It makes it interesting to look at. Not fun to build, but interesting to look at. And not fun to build because I wanted to put a hanging sign here and it kept reading weird, so I took it out. And by reading weird, I mean I was trying to make a hanging sign with, like, chains and stripped logs, and it looked like a sign to me, and then also not, so I took it out, and I'll just armor stand something when I get around to it. But there are bits, there are shape-wise bits I like this sort of bay window. I'm not sure what to do with it in terms of boarding it up, or, like, breaking bits of it, but I think I might leave it. I also might not. And then so the shapes are what I like about this. Build palette, I'm not quite sure how I feel about it yet, which is fun, because, like, I've actually just spent 3 days looking at this being like, I don't know how I feel about it. But it is completed, and maybe it'll be switched up down the line, but I feel good enough about it that I can move on. And now, having built 2 diagonal builds, I am running out of diagonal space, because I can't use this yet, because it's the exit, and the conditions for me building the exit have not been met yet, no matter how hard I try. But that means that if I were going to keep building buildings, I'd need to keep expanding down this way. However, I don't particularly feel like it, and you know what I do feel like doing? A bunch of interiors. But not today. Not today. Today, I built 2 diagonal buildings. Well, not all today. Today as in metaphorically. This episode, I built 2 diagonal buildings, and I will get to take a break. But after that break, next episode, we're gonna do a bunch of interiors, and I'm so pumped for that. I'm so pumped for that. And now we've reached the end of yet another episode. But it's not an episode in which we work on the underworld unless we have that one last tour of the underworld from above, because the underworld from above is my favorite way to look at the underworld. I know it should probably be like the underworld on the ground, but from above, it makes me realize just how much work I've been doing, because sometimes it doesn't feel like I'm doing anything, I'm just, futzing around underground. But, the underworld from above, that's my favorite view. So let's go see it.